Good evening, Norcal Karters. It is January 27th, and it's a Wednesday, and I usually try to do my podcast on a Monday, but it's been a very busy week, both on Norcal Karters and some other karting-related activities. So I'm a couple days behind, but good information in this episode. We have a new sponsor to Norcal Karters. We'll highlight that in a moment. A couple of clubs have started putting out their race schedules in addition to the schedules we went over last week. And January is almost over. And right now, sitting in my little home office, eating Girl Scout cookies. So if you hear a little bit of smacking, I apologize, but it's just the Thin Mints. That's it. And I did eat my vegetables for dinner, though. So there's that. So Norcal Karters, just January 27th already. And you know what? Happy birthday, Jim Kidd. My buddy Jim Kidd, many of you know him. He's commonly found at Sonoma Raceway. Today is his birthday. So he's one of those guys over the years that always calls me on my birthday. And I always remember that because I think a lot of us, we send texts or we send a Facebook message for birthdays. But Jim actually picks up the phone, and I've come to actually look forward to that phone call every year. So, Mr. Kidd, happy birthday to you. And we have some rain falling, so hopefully you'll have some fresh snow for your birthday weekend and enjoy it. So, like I said, the calendar's filling up. And this past weekend, one of our website sponsors, challengekarting.com, which is a Challenge of the Americas, that's run by Andy Saisman. We were down in Phoenix. And when I say we, I was there. I was under the GFC tent working with Connor Wick. So that was a lot of fun. But what a fun event. Andy's found a good balance between national level competitive racing and keeping the environment fun, but it's also serious. I mean, a lot of times you get the fun but not so serious, and a lot of times you get the serious but not so fun. And Andy's done a great job. It's been fun to go to his series. I've been to a few of his races now. I never really attended the Gators series that he used to run back in the day. That was a road tax package. Never went to any of those events. But now that he's on the Vortex program with Rock Cup USA and the Challenge of the America series, I've been going to a couple of those events, and man, they were fun. The only thing that I could complain about is it rained. And I kind of started thinking about it. What Challenge of America's race would it be without rain, at least at one of their events? It seems to be that every year you can track one of their races back to a rain event that was very memorable. A number of years ago, there was a rain race at Sonoma. And the week before, Sonoma had sheep or goats mowing the lawns throughout the whole property. And when you mix rain with fresh animal poop, and it's on the high side of the track and it drains across the track, I don't think you really need to use your imagination on that mess. But this past weekend, we had really nice weather. Let's see, I was there from Wednesday to Sunday. So it was, 60, 70 degrees. Some cloud cover on some days, but not enough to look up and go, is it going to rain? And Saturday, we were all playing the rain tire game. We didn't need them. It stayed dry all day on Saturday. Saturday evening, it was pretty much 100% chance of rain on Sunday. Woke up, went to the track, and the track was wet. It wasn't like huge puddles or anything, but enough to warrant rain tires. And they declared a rain race right off the get-go. And I don't know, the rain it's the same for everybody. You go to those races, you show up prepared. If you go to a national level event, you don't have rain tires. I don't know what to say. It's a national level race, have rain tires. But it seemed like everybody was prepared for the rain, and we kicked off practice in the rain. Then it was one of those stare at the track, look at all the different classes. Some guys decided to go out on slicks, and in some classes it was slower. Some classes it was faster. And as qualifying came around, let's see, qualified on slicks. Yep. So in qualifying, we qualified on slicks. The heat race, pretty sure our heat race and the shifters were on slicks. And the main event was on slicks. And then it rained on the last 2 laps of the shifter class. So they were already on the track with slicks. It started to rain the last 2 laps, and kind of threw a wrench into everybody's plan, because if you're already on the track with slicks and it rains, and it came down hard enough to where the guys' lap times just dropped off pretty significantly. But it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was a lot of wrenching, a lot of thrashing. Sunday morning was mounting and dismounting a lot of tires. Just because of the rains, we burned up a brand new set of rain tires in practice, and we had to use the rims for our race set. So we were thrashing to get that done. And then at the same time, not knowing if we were going to put slicks on. And again, everybody had the same issue. So it's not a complaint. It's just kind of looking back at the event. And that's the only thing I look back at and go, I could have done without the rain, but it's not like anybody called it in, I don't think. Unless you're from Oregon, Washington, and Canada. Maybe those guys called in for rain. But yeah, it was a great event. I'll have Andy on later, next week or two. He's a great guest to have on the show. And he can go into the details. I think he had 130 or 140 total entries. And so that was definitely, I believe, one of his bigger COTA events. So that's a great way to start off the year. They had the new Levanto tire. I've never worked with that tire before. My understanding is it is manufactured by LeConte, but it is not the same LeConte tire that many of you have tried on the shifter stuff, last year or the year before. This one's a new tire. It's a little bit softer. Can't tell you how the tire wear was, because Phoenix just is known for shredding tires. So when we head to Cal Speed or Sonoma, have a better evaluation. But there's no major issue with the tires. No manufacturing defects. Just Phoenix is a cheese grater. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was just a lot of fun. And I mentioned I was with Team GFC. Gary Carlton is also a sponsor of Norcal Karters. So you will see we have Gary's track schedule updated on norcalkarters.com. If you're a local shop or a local track, or just an individual that does trackside support and you want more attention on your business, reach out to me. We can put together an advertising package, and we can put the events that you plan on attending on the calendar. And so Gary was down there with his crew, and his team was strong. Lots of podiums, so that was great for GFC at the COTA event. So that was the last weekend. And I'm kind of rambling because I was there. Again, there's a lot of great racing action. The driver I worked with last year, Christian Cameron, I believe he brought home the win on Saturday in the going to get fired for that one, the VLR 100cc junior class. Steven Eisert, he was on an OTK product with Speed Sense. He was in the top 3 all weekend long. If I'm forgetting people, I apologize. I'm just kind of rambling off the top of my head because I wasn't really doing a race recap. I was going to just do a kind of just the events coming up. But I started talking. So yeah, a lot of NorCal drivers were down there. Actually, give me a moment. I'll eat another cookie, and then I'll pull up challengekarting.com real quick for the results. So now you know why I don't do this full time for my living, because I'm not real good at it. I'm getting better. I'm working on it. Let's see here. And if you're listening and I don't mention your name, couple reasons. One, I'm focusing on NorCal drivers. Two, if I'm not sure if you're a NorCal driver, I may inadvertently skip you if I'm not aware of it. So you can always send me a quick note. Post on Facebook on Norcal Karters page. If you engage with that page, then if I see your name pop up in the results, it's just a quick reminder of, oh yeah, I see that name all the time. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm definitely not Rob Howden. That guy's like a karting encyclopedia going back to the 90s. Let's see. And for those that are curious, you can go to challengekarting.com. Upper navigation bar, you can click on the results and it takes you right to Speed Hive, and they have the results. Everything's uploaded and such. I'm just scanning through the list real quick for Saturday, then for Sunday. Like I said, there was here we go, Kevin Woods, Ron White Racing CRG product in the Master Shifter class. He finished third on Saturday. Let's see here. Michael Gouache, he was on a Ital kart with Italian motors, and he ended up sixth on Saturday, and he's also the headlining sponsor. So I typically don't go outside the top three. I'm mentioning Gouache because he's the headlining sponsor for Challenge of the Americas. And 2021, I'm using 2021 as our project to promote sponsors, help the series, promote the prizes they're giving out, and so there'll be more on that as well. Let's see here. They had combined a class somewhere. There we go. Found it. Yes, let's see here. Christian Cameron, 100cc Junior, Steven Eisert. They went 1-2. Let's see. So that was for Saturday. And while I'm at it, since I talked about the different sponsors and the awards for each series, Challenge of the Americas, Micro Rock, sponsored by Empire Karts. Master Rock, Odenthal Racing Products. Junior Rock, sponsored by Acceleration. Senior Rock, sponsored by Ruthless Karting. You know what? I didn't look at theirs by class. Give me a second here. Every time I do these podcasts, I always go back and I write down more notes of do this different, do that different. So I am writing my notes down. Let's see. Mini Rock, sponsored by GFC Karting. GFC is a sponsor of the program. Thank you, Gary. Let's see. Rock Shifter, the senior class, sponsored by SwedeTech. Let's see here. 100cc Junior, sponsored by Ital Kart. 100cc Masters, That's sponsored by M2. I believe that is the digital solutions company for Challenge of the Americas. They do apparel, the masks, and other branding product. So that's M2. Ron White Racing sponsors the Master Shifter class. And Forward Direction sponsors the 100cc senior class. So there we go on that one. And this will go faster now that I know what I'm looking at. Okay. And again, if I'm missing you, send me a quick note. We'll get you highlighted. Or stay engaged with Norcal Karters on the Facebook page. I don't do too much on the Instagram stuff because I don't usually post a lot of pictures. I do on my personal page with food, but not really relevant for Norcal Karters. Okay. Actually, if I intentionally forget to mention people, then you'll definitely contact me. Then I know you're listening. Let's see. Sunday, 100cc Junior. Steven Isert, second place. Christian Cameron, third place. Laney Benjamin took the win in 100cc Junior on Sunday. Not sure where that driver calls home. Mike Smith, I think he has his own Full Caster podcast. I think that's Mike Smith. Saw his name in the 100cc Masters class. Not a Norcal Karter, but a fellow podcaster. Let's see. Enzo Prevost took third in the shifter main on Sunday. All right. Let's quick recap. Like I said, I'm taking notes next time. If I'm actually going to be doing more of a race report, I'll have the information a little bit more handy. But as many of you know, I end up rambling anyway. Let's see here. So that was last weekend, Challenge of the Americas. And again, GFC Karting was supporting his customers down there. Now, a couple things with our calendar on norcalkarters.com. Right now, I'm prioritizing how I'm putting the listings up based on current sponsors and last year's sponsors. So I'm doing my best to kind of keep up with the dates that are flowing in. I haven't put Northern Nevada Kart Club. I have not put them on the calendar yet. Blue Max just released their schedule last week. I have not put them on the calendar yet. But again, you can go to their websites or Facebook pages. I know they pushed out calendars. I just haven't had a chance to input them to norcalkarters.com yet. So you get Blue Max Kart Club and Northern Nevada Kart Club both pushed out schedules last week. Let's see. So we're talking about last week's events. I was out at Prairie City yesterday and talked to Donald a little bit. He said the Enduro, they sold out all the classes, or they sold out all the entries, so they filled all the spots. And he said it was a great time. You know, people just really enjoyed it. They did the endurance race in the rental carts. He said it was a lot of fun, so he's really looking forward to doing another event like that. And yeah, I mean, I asked him about it, and he just had a big smile on his face. So I know somebody had posted on Norcal Karters' Facebook page a podium shot of the endurance race. So that was cool. So speaking of Prairie City, February 6th and 7th, Prairie City is race number 1 for their 4-stroke weekend. So to recap, 4-stroke weekend consists of Kid Kart, Junior 1 Pilot, Junior 1 Non-Pilot, Junior 2, Senior, Masters, and 80cc shifter. So again, those you'll have to check with PCKarting.com for the engine classification on the kid kart. And the 80cc shifter is pretty self-explanatory. It's predominantly Honda. But per many rules, you can run Yamaha, Kawasaki, Suzuki. But most guys run Hondas. And then all the other classes are going to be Briggs 206. So Briggs 206 4-strokes. Again, Prairie City is doing a split weekends with one weekend is 4-stroke plus 80 shifter. Then following grouping is going to be Prairie City 2-stroke, and I have them on the calendar that way. And Prairie City just confirmed today they will also be sponsoring NorcalKarters.com. So if you go to NorcalKarters.com, we have the link to Prairie City's website and all their different class breakdowns and the date of the events. And the way it's written on the Norcal Karters site, Prairie City 4-stroke weekend race 1, February 6th and 7th. Then you have Prairie City 2-stroke weekend race 1. That is going to be February 20th and 21st. So keep that in mind. When you're looking at the calendar, there's a 4-stroke weekend and a 2-stroke weekend. So again, NorcalKarters.com, click on the calendar, and or you can go to PCKarting.com, which is Prairie City Karting. And again, thank you, Donald, for signing up this year to have your events enhanced on NorcalKarters.com. We appreciate the support. And again, February 6th, 7th, Prairie City 4-stroke weekend. Let's see. On the Norcal Karters calendar, we also have every Monday our podcast. And I will get back into my routine of doing them every Monday. This week was a little bit off. Honestly, I was just a little burnout from the race weekend. I was gone for 5 days. When I got home, there was a lot of catch up I had to do, but there was a lot of notes I had for the podcast. Again, there's the data entry behind it. It's not very glamorous, but Northern Nevada Kart Club released their calendar. Blue Max released their calendar. Rock Sonoma will highlight here in a moment. They released their calendar, confirming Prairie City as a sponsor. So bringing their listings up to date. Updating Gary Carlton's 2021 schedule. So again, there was a lot of information flowing in, and I just really ran out of time. And yesterday I was out at the track all day. So here we are, Wednesday. Time flies. So again, when you look at the calendar, you'll notice Norcal Karters podcasts. Again, I try to do them every Monday. So for a couple of weeks, we don't have anything after February 6th and 7th. There's Valentine's Day, February 14th. So if you don't know what to get that special someone, get them a gift certificate for Prairie City's rental carts. Bring some friends out for the rental carts and go take out the Burrell. I think they call them N35s. They're actually not bad to drive. Much better than the indoor stuff. So there's that if you're not really sure what to do for Valentine's Day. And Prairie City is open. And why am I plugging Prairie City? Because they gave me a check. Simple media. Let's see here. GFC Karting. He's going to be busy over the next couple months. Gary's going to be in Florida from the February 18th to the 21st for the Florida Winter Tour. That same weekend, I just mentioned it, Prairie City 2-stroke weekend, race number 1. So the two-stroke weekend consists of Cadet, Tag Senior, Tag Master, Tag Grandmaster, KA100, KA100 Junior, KA100 Senior and KA100 Masters, and the 125 Shifters. So again, that's going to be February 20th and the 21st, and that's the 2-stroke weekend. And the first track is going to be the modified perimeter. Let's see here. And then fast forwarding to the end of February, Challenge of the Americas heads to Fontana, and that is taking place on February 26th through the 28th. And GFC Karting will be down there supporting his customers. And again, Challenge of the Americas, February 26th through the 28th. GFC Karting will be down there supporting customers. And that wraps up February. And we're going to go into March. So as the season progresses and as more events go on, I usually do 4 to 6 weeks out in advance. But being that we're adding calendars, not daily, but on a weekly basis right now, I'm going to go out a few more months just so you know who's on board. Prairie City 4-stroke weekend, race number 2, March 6th and 7th. NCK Road Racing, March 8th, which is a Monday. And that is going to be at Thunder Hill on the 3-mile track. And NCK, they are a returning sponsor from last year. So thank you, NCK Road Racing, for supporting Norcal Karters. And March 8th. And actually, speaking of NCK, I was having a conversation with Mark Morrison the other day, and they're looking for ideas to bring new blood into the road racing scene. And do one of two things. Either go to the NCK Facebook page or go to the Norcal Karters Facebook page and share your thoughts. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to go on Facebook, on the Facebook page for Norcal Karters, and share. So hopefully I don't go down the rabbit hole of Facebook and get ADD'd out and butterflies and shiny objects and forget what I'm doing. But as you can hear, I'm actually typing. Okay, sorry about that. So I was talking to Mark Morrison, and let's go right there. And the conversation came up of how do we bring new people out to the road races, and it's a lot of fun. I know there's a lot of hesitations, and if you're a gearhead like me, you never want to say, "Oh, I have hesitations." But it is for me personally, it's very nerve-wracking thinking I'm going to go over 100 miles an hour in a go-kart. And I went out a couple years ago for the first time. The first session, I really just, by road racing standards, I putted around and just drove. Got a feel for the go-kart, got a feel to see if I was even in the ballpark on the gearing, but mainly just to get the sense of speed. And I don't think I went faster than 80 or 90 miles an hour on that first session. And I came off after a few laps like, okay, that's how the track feels. When you have a go-kart on a road race track, it literally is wide open, meaning the track is wide open. It's wide. There's 500 different driving lines. The corners, it's about momentum through the corners. I was in a 125 shifter kart. I wasn't going into turn 1 and just locking up the brakes. Very little braking compared to the sprint racing stuff. So just coming up to speed and trying to get adapted with everything. And as I got faster, and you start dealing with the helmet buffering, and it's kind of a new experience, but it was fun. The most unnerving part for me, and it took me a while to figure out what it was, is actually Rainey from SwedeTech figured it out. There was this rattling noise I had, and I just couldn't figure it out. And the faster I went, the more it rattled. Well, it turned out that I had a shutoff valve in my fuel line, and the way the shutoff valve worked is it had like some little ball spring detent in it, and that's what I was hearing rattling. So there was nothing falling off the cart. There was nothing breaking. It was just this little ball detent inside the shutoff valve that was rattling, and I never heard it on the sprint track before, but I heard it road racing. And then the rotor noise, like hearing your brake rotor spin. So that was a little different. But other than that, the road racing stuff is a lot of fun. And I know there is road racing is more expensive on a per day basis. Their entry fees are more expensive. But I actually wrote an article last year based on my personal experience and then also the experience of others from road racing. And I kind of broke the numbers down. The amount of time you spend on the track is so much more significant with road racing because they run 20 to 30 minute heat races. And on a typical sprint track weekend for club racing, you might have 30 or 45 minutes total on the track all weekend long, or not all weekend, but all race day long. And when I broke it down by minute on the track, the road racing was actually cheaper. And you could argue the chassis is going to last longer because it's less fatigue on the kart. To me, tires are kind of a non-issue. If you're in a shifter, you're probably putting a new set on every day anyway. But the tire wear for the road racing seemed to be much better than on the sprint stuff because you're not hard on the brake, hard on the acceleration. It's just everything is flowing and smooth. So it was a lot of fun. I mean, I really, really enjoyed it. I was having this conversation with Mark, and he was, spitballing ideas. And as I mentioned it, again, NCK Road Racing, they're a sponsor of ours. And I just posted it on Facebook. So attention racers. How can the road racing segment of Karters attract your entries or interest? So if you have a suggestion of besides lowering the cost, they understand they're a little bit higher, but every single race promoter, Andy Saisman's talked about this many times, every single race promoter has a certain nut they have to crack just to break even, and they can only go by past events as far as historical entry numbers. So just keep that in mind when a particular club has high expenses or low entries or a combination of both, then it's going to be a higher entry fee. But how can the NCK road racing community, how can they attract your attention? So again, post something on the Facebook page, Norcal Karters Facebook page. And before I get too sidetracked, so that is March 8th, which is a Monday. The reason they do their event on a Monday is two reasons. The track is cheaper to rent on a Monday at Thunder Hill. And two, many times Thunder Hill won't even make the track available to NCK on a weekend because they try to book those tracks every single weekend. And so a lot of times the road racers, again, they get overshadowed a little bit by bigger events at Thunder Hill and the other tracks. So again, it's a business for the tracks. It's a business for the promoters. It's just numbers and entries. So March 8th, Monday is Thunder Hill East for NCK Road Racing. Let's see here. March 13th and 14th, Prairie City two-stroke weekend, race number 2. March 18th through the 21st, GFC Karting, which is Gary Carlton. He will be in Florida supporting customers on his East Coast customers on that weekend. However, he's also scheduled to support customers at Sonoma. Sonoma just released their calendar this weekend, and so there's got a conflict between Rock Cup's Florida Winter Tour and Sonoma's race number 1. So Gary's committed. He'll figure it out. He's a smart guy. How to properly support both customer bases. But yeah, so rolling into that, Rock Sonoma, race number 1. Their schedule just came out, March 20th and the 21st. And Rock Sonoma is also a sponsor. They're not a returning sponsor. They signed up late in the year 2020 for the calendar sponsorships to promote their events a little bit more. But being that 2020 was such a weird year with COVID and everything else, it kind of turned into a 2020-2021 sponsorship. It's just how it worked out. So their website, Sanzaru Karting.com, SANZARU Karting.com, Sanzaru Karting.com, Sonoma Rock Cup, race 1, March 20th and the 21st. And let's see here. The following weekend is Challenge of the Americas, also at Sonoma. So Sonoma is going to be pretty busy, probably most of March, with the race number 1 taking place, Challenge of the Americas having their round 3 and their season finale for the Challenge of the Americas stuff. And Gary Carlton will be there as well for the Challenge of the Americas. And then Andy rolls into the CRC, which is the California Rock Championship. So for those who don't know, Challenge of the Americas is his West Coast national program, and the CRC was a slightly scaled back version of Challenge of the Americas, with more of a focus on keeping the races a little bit closer in California. Again, California Rock Championship, and that should be a pretty good series next year as well. It started to have a lot of growth in 2020, even with COVID, so that should be good. So wrapping up March, Challenge of the Americas at Sonoma, March 26th through the 28th. And again, Gary Carlton will be at the track supporting his customers. And let's get into April. April 10th and the 11th, GFC Karting supporting his customers at Sonoma Rock, race number 2. Again, that's April 10th and the 11th. And that same weekend is NCK Road Racing at Speed Vegas. So actually, I just noticed something on that particular. I have a little address incorrection on that one, so I'm going to fix that right now. But NCK is heading to Speed Vegas for another event, and multitasking bad. Okay. I knew there was something wrong because on that weekend, April 10th and the 11th, Speed Vegas is a 2-day event. So typically NCK Road Racing is only a 1-day event. But for Speed Vegas, they're doing a 2-day event on that one. And that's April 10th and 11th. Let's see here. And you can go to their website, nckroadracing.com. You can also go to norcalkarters.com, click on the calendar link, and for the sponsors of the calendar, you click on the description field. It gives you a description of either the series, if it's a special event, but more importantly, it will take you directly to their website. So as we build the calendar out, the goal is to have every track enhanced, so that way, every track can get the attention of going to the calendar and going right to their website to gain entries and inform the customer base. But April 10th and 11th, NCK, Speed Vegas. And again, I mentioned that's also race number 2 for Sonoma Rock Cup. And April 17th and 18th, Prairie City four-stroke weekend. Prairie City four-stroke weekend. Race number 3. And that wraps up April for the events that I have so far. Again, there's a couple clubs I'm missing, but I'll get them on there over the next day or two. Yeah, that takes us all the way out to May. I think we're probably good for that right now. For May. Let's see, what else do I got in my notes? So we have Year of the Awards. I'm going to get much better at that. I get my notes together ahead of time. I did run through the class sponsors for CODA. If you're another track out there, regardless if you're paying to sponsor the website or not, if you would like to have the sponsors mentioned, send me an email, give me a call, send me a text. And again, 2021 is going to be Year of the Awards. Now, I will give priority to the sponsors of the website because that's only fair. You know, they're spending their hard-earned cash on a website and promotion, so I need to do that. But again, if you're running a local club and you have some cool awards going on this year, let me know. Let's promote the awards that you guys work so hard to gather to bring more attention and more value to the racers at your races. So it's pretty simple. And then last year, 2020, that was Year of the Club. I'm still going to do that. So again, find a local club and support it. If you're listening to this podcast for the first time and you don't even have a go-kart, you can go to our tracks page. There's a number of tracks that are listed. You can send me an email with your zip code, and I'll point you in the right direction through the email. But yeah, focus on a club. And this question comes up a lot of times. How do I get started in karting? First thing you need to do is either contact a local kart shop or contact Prairie City Karting and ask if they have kart rentals. I know for a fact Prairie City has kart rentals because I've done it. Get out there and just go drive a rental. Before you spend any money on a racing kart, go out there, spend the money on a kart rental. If you've never been to an indoor karting place, absolutely do the rental first. And then from there, play it by ear. Go to the tracks that are local to you. Get a feel for how the tracks are being run, what classes are being offered. And then also decide, do you even want to race? Or do you just want to go out in the middle of the week and just go pound laps? Because there's multiple different discussions about what kart you should buy, what engine you should buy, based on what you're going to do. If you want to buy the top-of-the-notch brand new go-kart with a gearbox shifter and you live in Northern California, everyone should be telling you to buy a Vortex. Everyone should be telling you that. Because that is the strongest segment right now in Northern California for gearbox, for a racing series. Now, if you just say, I don't know, I just want to go out and pound laps, I've never done this before, it's always been fun, I'm probably not going to race, then at that point, the world is open to you. You can buy almost anything that's 10 years or newer and be pretty close to compliant to going out to the tracks. They do have minimum standards on body work and kart standards for insurance reasons, but anything within the past 10 years, for the most part, is going to be pretty close to ready to hit the track. And if you're just out there pounding laps, there's plenty of guys I see out there that have 10, 15, 20-year-old karts. Again, they've updated the body work and they've maintained the engines and things like that. But, you can get into a kart for as low as $2,000. Granted, it's probably going to be well worn at that price. But just to go out and pound laps, again, at a local track, just step one, get out there and go drive. Step two, figure out what you want to do. Do you want to race? Do you want to just drive? And then step three, determine your package from there. But Yeah, year of the club, 2021. That was a weird year. So 2021 is going to be just, we're going to piggyback off of that. There's a lot of clubs in the area. Once you get into the sport, from where I'm sitting in Galt, I have 6 tracks within 2 hours. 6 tracks. And I'm not including oval tracks. I'm not an oval guy. I don't know anything about the oval racing except for they're on dirt and they go left. But if you start including the dirt track guys in the ovals, you're going to double or triple the amount of tracks within 2 hours of Sacramento. So just to name them off: Prairie City, out in Rancho Cordova; Blue Max Kart Club in Davis; Kinsman Kart Club in Dixon; Little Stockton 99 in Stockton. Let's see, that's 4. You have Sonoma Raceway, that's 5. Reno and Redding, those are the wild cards. Those are probably a little further than 2 hours from my doorstep. But that brings us up to 7 just by adding those in there. So again, once you start getting in the sport and looking around, tracks start popping up everywhere. And I'm hoping I'm missing a track that person is listening, so they call me out on it. Then I just know you're listening, and then I'll make sure I won't forget it again. But there's a lot of tracks that are available. Go support a local track. And with that, everybody, have a great evening.